At the beginning of this week's Torah portion, we get a full and precise accounting of all of the funds that the Jewish people donated toward the construction of the tabernacle, the Mishkan. One commentator points out that if you look at the total of the funds donated, they pale in comparison to the far more significant amount of funds that were needed to build the first and the second temple. But unlike the first and the second temple, the Mishkan was never ransacked and destroyed by our enemies. Further, the Mishkan contained a far more impressive and visible manifestation of God's presence than either temple. Why? To teach us that when God chooses to inhabit a building with his presence, a home or a synagogue, he doesn't look for the fanciest or the most expensive buildings. He looks for the ones that have the most sincere and committed inhabitants. One commentator asks a question about the accounting. He wants to know, why is it that Moshe of all people, had to give an accounting? Did people actually suspect our leader Moshe of having skimmed some money off the top, taken a rake for himself from the donated communal funds? The lesson for us is that if you handle communal funds, charitable funds, you have to be ever vigilant. You need oversight. You need precise accountings. You need transparency. And if you're a donor, you're entitled to ask questions. There's nothing wrong with a charity spending some money on advertising or marketing or salaries for its employees, but you can ask, what percentage of the total donated funds goes to the intended beneficiaries? And then, once you have that answer, you can compare those percentages for different charities within the same genre, collecting for the same type of use. And that can help inform your decision as to how much to give and to which organizations to give. But there's one day a year when we don't ask questions like that, and that day is coming up soon. It's Purim. The rabbis say that on Purim, kol haposhet yad. Anyone who puts his or her hand out, you have to give something, to a person or to an organization. No questions asked. Last year, Purim night, I came back after hearing the Megillah, broke my fast of Esther, and the doorbell rang soon thereafter. 3 guys came to the door, I brought them inside, and gave them each some money. And then over the course of the next few hours, I wrote many more checks to various different people who came to the door. One of my favorite pictures in my office is a picture of me from a few years ago in Purim, dressed up like a pirate, writing a check to charity. Because that's what Jewish pirates do. We give away money instead of stealing it. So anyway, last Purim night, a few hours later, the doorbell rang again, and I figured, all right, I'll answer it for the last time before going to sleep. And there were 3 additional people looking for funds, but they had masks over their eyes. Something seemed familiar to me, but I just couldn't put my finger on it. Wait a minute, I realized. You guys were here a few hours ago. I gave you money already. Now, I wasn't sure whether that rabbinic dictum that says that anyone who puts out their hand, you have to give them something, still applies when someone comes back for seconds for a donation. But on the other hand, I wasn't certain, so I figured, why not? So I said to them, guys, I gave you money already, but you've been collecting all night, you're probably hungry, you want something to eat? And they were delighted. They took me up on the offer, I fed them, and then I bid them adieu. So on Purim, we don't ask any questions, but the rest of the year we do. As I've mentioned before, there's no higher or better use for your money, your hard-earned income, than to give it away to charity. But once you're giving it away, why not ensure the highest possible rate of return?